Got it.
Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about server actions outside form elements. Well, this talk is a continuation of a previous talk that we talked about server actions in general using informs on Next.js. And today we're going to continue it because on the previous talk we're going to talk about inform elements. And now, what if we want to use it on an input change or an use effect or any other event handler that we want on our components? And that's what we are doing today. This is the structure of the topics of the talk today. We start today. We're starting now with the introduction, and well, let's see. So to start, let's do a quick recap of what was done before to check on the server actions that we already did. And here's the app. It's just a small calendar, and we can add tasks to it. And this form here is doing the server action to create a task and submit it to our Next.js server. So, well, let's do the recap here on how it works. Where's my create task? It's here. So yeah, we have our form action here. That is the create task. Very simple. We get the data from the form. We do the fetch, not the fetch, the submit to the API. And then we revalidate the tasks to get the new data. And then return the success message. Very nice. And here on our create task, we have this use format state that gets the create task, and it returns the result of the form action, and it returns form action wrapped in the form state. And then we call it on our action in our form component. This is chakra UI, and that's it uses style components. That's why you have this S form. So this component here is a form HTML tag. Well, this is our form action going on. We get the form data from the form. We do the optimistic update to update the state before the form action ends, and then we do the form action here. But all of this is happening inside an action in a form. So what if, for example, we want to add it to a button or to another place in the code? Well, that's where we begin today. So let me pass to the next step here. But by the way, those slides here, they're just for a reference when we are changing the subject. Then I show it here so we can be on the same page. So now we'll be calling the server action. Let me see on the right branch. Yes, I am. So let me get here. So, okay, we start here. The example that I'm doing to show this is a delete button for the tasks, for example. I created too many tasks, and now I want to delete some of them. So I can open here this modal when I click it, and I delete the task. I make sure that I want to delete it, and then it is deleted. Oh, wait, I have just refresh here because this is too advanced. Let me just, okay, it happened. Yeah, it should not show those disabled and the tools and everything. It's step by step. Forgot to refresh, sorry. But anyways, it's clicking and deleting the task. So let's see how it's been called. Well, it's on task details. Yes, it is on task details. No, wait. It is on task list. Task list called the task details. Yes, on task details. You have the delete task action. Let's see how it looks. We start with the use server on the top of the file. That's like the baseline for server actions. You have to have this use server on top of the file to mark every export that we have. Not every export, but every function that we export here as a server action. This turns into a server action. This is a server action. This is also a server action because we have this use server here. And our delete task is very simple. We receive on task ID, then we send a delete HTTP request to our backend, and then if it's not successful, we return the error. But if it is successful, we do a revalidate tag to revalidate our cache, and then we return the message task deleted. Okay, very simple, this delete task. And now to call it on our component is also very simple. We have this on click here, and we just simply do the delete task, and that's it. So the flow is just like we have this confirm deletion that we saw here. It asks, hey, are you sure you want to delete it? When we want to delete it, then it sets the confirm deletion to true. When it's true, it renders this "Are you sure" button, and the "Are you sure" button deletes the task. And that's it. We just did. We called several actions. That's it, everyone. Nice. We are done. Or are we? Because this UI, this UX is not that great because I click the button and then my screen, nothing happens, and from nowhere, the "Are you sure" the task just is gone. So this is not a very nice UI because we do an action, but we give no feedback to the user. Hey, what happened? What should we do? And let's check it out. So to show feedback to the user, we'll get to the next step here. Oh, let me just go to the next step here first. Let's get the result of the action to show to the user how it's done. I think step 6.1. Yeah, this is where it's stopped here. So yes, we are going to add the visual feedback for the task deletion. Okay, so now our on click is now a sync button, is a sync function. Yeah, and with this async, we can put the await on the delete task and we get the result of it. And then is very, very nice too. If the result is successful, if it's not successful, we render this error toast. And if it is successful, we render the success toast. Let's see how does it look on the app live. Here, let me see. 24 March, there's a lot of things to delete. Let's click here. Are we sure? Then somewhere it shows task deleted, and then it is deleted. Okay. So as you could see, first I clicked to delete the task. When it was done, the task deletion, it did the result success true. It showed the toast, and then after it, the revalidate task was still running, and then after the task was revalidated, it went away. So let's show again. Here, let's click it, and then it is deleted, and now the revalidate is still happening, and now the cache revalidate is done, and it's over. There's a small difference between how we did in the create task form and how we're doing now, but I'll show it later because it relates to the transition that we have on React, and it's a topic for the next talks. Just one moment, let me take a sip of my water. Okay. So now we have the delete, but I want to have a more snappier UI. I want to do, as soon as I click the button, it just disappears. It disappears the task, and I do not have to wait for the task revalidation. Let's click again. I click here to delete, and then it still needs to finish everything. It needs to finish the revalidation for it to leave the screen. But I want it to happen just in the moment, like when you like a tweet or like a Facebook or like an Instagram post, and just click like, and there's it. There's like it. It's instant. Even though the server is still processing it, we see it as instant, and that's what I want through this deletion. So let's go to the next step, adding optimistic updates. So let's go here again and just do a git checkout step 7 now. Let's see it. It is step 7. Just sure. It is it. So let's start with we start with the code or with the app? Let's start with the app this time. I have here a task, and now as soon as I click it, it is gone. And then we have the success, and then we have the revalidation. It went away here. You can see the revalidation by the small circle here disappearing. Let's try again. It is gone here. Then we will have the message here, and then it is gone the circle here. So that's the flow. First we have the optimistic update, then we have the toast showing the success of the request, and then we have the revalidation that's removing it from the task list here. That's updating our cache. So let's see how it looks on the code. Okay. So yeah, for this optimistic update, I had to move the delete function from the task details to the task list. because this task list, task list is this component here. If we go to the dev tools or the React dev tools, here components, and then we inspect it to a very, where is it? Modal close button, motion, where's task list? Task list here. Oh, but this is for the 25 March. Let's put it key equals 7 or 07. Well, let me get the 25 of March then, since that's what it's looking for. Oh, let's go back to the components. Task list. Oh, nice. 31 March. Nice. Let's go here. Almost there. So no. And we are almost there. There's the March 21st, 25. Okay, here. Oh, the task list is just the block, and then we have the tail list later. That's this model. Where's the model? Yes, it's inside of the model, the list. I was confused, sorry. But anyways, we do have the model here with the list, and the task list has those two tasks here, and then when we click it, it shows up the model. Yeah, that's right. We have the model here. It just is it's a bit confusing, the model with the components. But anyways, we have the list here with the tasks, and we also show the tasks here. It's okay. So now to do the optimistic update, we use the hook, the React hook, use optimistic. So how it starts, we get a task from the task list. The first argument that the user optimistic accepts is the initial state. And the second argument is the function to do the update on the state. So yeah, our base state is the task that we receive as a prop to the task list. And our updater function is very nice. It takes the current state from the optimistic state and a task ID. And then we just do a filter. Hey, remove this task that has the same task ID from the state, and that's it. And then when we do our delete action, this functional, it receives a task ID. Then we do the optimistic task delete. And then we take the result of the delete task, and then we apply the toast the same way. So that's about the user optimistic, but there's a catch. If you go to our console.log, you can see that we have an error going on here. Not an error, a warning. Warning, an optimistic state update occurred outside a transition or action. To fix it, move the update to an action or wrap it with start transition. So this is the thing with React that all form actions must be called inside a transition. But we didn't need to use a transition on the create task, for example. So why does this not return a warning, but this does return a warning? Well, that's because every form action is a redirect inside a transition inside of React. So by calling it in a form, React already knows, oh, this is a form, this happens inside a transition, and that's it. And that's why, for example, we can get to the submit button and take this pending state from the use form status. That's why you can get this use form state from this form action. That's all related to the transition where the action is going on. So in this case, you are not having any bugs here, but it might be a point of failure in your application if you're doing the server actions outside of transitions. So that's why we will be calling the server action inside the transition now. And we'll start with the hook, use transition hook. Let's go to it, called step 8. And let's see what we've done. Now we added this use transition hook that's also from React. It returns an array with 2 arguments. The first argument is the pending state that will tell us if the transition is over or not. And then we have the start transition function. So it's very simple too. So instead of just calling everything at once, we will put it inside the start transition. And that's the only change. If you go here to the test details, still the same thing, just receive the delete task from the prop and you call it there. And that's the use transition, and that's where we remove the pointer failure of our application. So we go back here. How do I remove this inspector? I think it's from the components, right? Oh, much better. Okay. So if you go to the console log down and then we delete a task, it does not show anymore the warning because we are really doing it in a transition. And that's the right way to do it. Every time that we call a server action outside of a form element, we must wrap it inside a transition. And just to show the transition happening, I add another branch here. Oh, I forgot to show the topic. Sorry, guys. So yeah, wrapping it in a transition. We've done it. And now we are going to do a small comparison between the form elements and call it outside form elements. But first, let me just change to the next branch here, where we get the pending state for the transition. Where are we? Okay, we have the pending state here. And now what I want to do is that I just want to delete one task at a time. And every time that I delete a task, every other task will be disabled. Every other delete will be disabled. So we have the is disable button here. And then every time that we click on a task deletion, let me see. So yeah, it now disables the other deletions. And then after we finish the transition, then it's enabled again. And as you can see, one curious thing about the transition is that the transition only finishes after every async function is done. Because even though we delete the task here, the toast show the transition is still pending. It just ends after we finish with the revalidation. So that's a curious thing that I found out, because if you see here, our delete task, even after we do after we finish our wait delete task and we even show the toast, the transition is still not over because the revalidate tag is still not over. So if I remove this revalidate tag, for example, and then I remove this task, now after the toast shows up, the pending state is false again, so that the buttons are enabled. And as you could see, because I didn't do the revalidate tasks, the state of tasks did not change it. So after I finished my transition, the state of test didn't change it. So the optimistic update returned to the previous state. So that's a nice thing to check out on how the use transition and the use optimistic work together. Because if it comes to the end of the transition and your base state is the same, it returns to the base state. So after the optimistic update happens and after the transition is done, your new base state actually must be different than your previous base state to make sure that the optimistic update will be, how can I say, will be permanent. Yeah, the change will be permanent. Otherwise, it will return to the previous state. And that's how they work together. So if you see right here on the form, it works on the same way. Even after, so here we have a bit different because here the shows on a use effect. So where is our form? So yeah, so let's check here on the form. First, we do the add optimistic, and then we do the form action, and then we get the result of it, and then after the result happens, the state of the result changes. We have this use effect here, and then it shows the toast. So let's see. This is a bit difference of the implementation between the two of them that I think it's worth talking about. Let's create a new task. I put it for 29, and then we have the transition here, And just after everything is over, the revalidate you see by the small flash on the screen that the revalidation tags the revalidate tag is over. And then just after everything is done, then the result is changed. And then after the state of the result is changed, then the code's use effect. But here the task list is a bit different. We are not showing the toast after the transition ends. We are showing the toast just after the delete task ends, and not after the transition ends. And I think this is a detail that might be how can I say is a detail that might impact how you're playing your UI, because if you want to show the toast just after the actual the request is done, then you should use it here. But if you want to show the toast after the transition is done, then you should get the state of the form like we have here, and then after the state changes, then we call the toast. And that's it. I think that's the usage of the several actions outside from elements. We went on a bit of everything here. This could also be called not only on click, but on change, or maybe on key down, or even inside a use effect. But all of those transitions should happen inside. I mean, all of those actions should happen inside a transition. And then you should think about when you want to some effects to happen, if you want to happen inside of the transition or after the transition. And that's it. I think you like this talk, and follow up for more updates on Next.js that will happen. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.